Okay, what I've got here is the transmitter portion, the actual heart of a Decca marine radar. A large one off of a ship. Transceiver unit type, get the cameras going, transceiver unit type 65170. This is the output waveguide that goes to the antenna for the radar. I don't know if there's any cables inputs on this side. And these are the cables that go to the interface on the scope and stuff. So let me open it up here. I'll show you what we got. Oh yeah, all kinds of good stuff. Danger, high voltage, mains voltage exposed. Input regulator volts set by null reading. Preset controls. Power supply wiring. Alright, so I have some cables that came with it. They actually sent me the cables, but looks like they didn't cut the wire. I have no way of knowing what wire goes where. I don't have the books, and I can't splice them because it looks like they just loosened them and yanked them out, so I'm not sure what wires would go where. These look like little coaxial ports. There were some coax cables that came with it. Yeah, trigger 1, trigger 2 video. This is more of the waveguide. So, here's the heart. Here's the magnetron tube. This is the horseshoe magnet. And that's what creates the high power radar pulse. And here's your high voltage leads. Probably like 10,000 volts. High voltage, danger. And this is some kind of a tuned, there's probably a circuit board inside there that connects to the waveguide. If I had to guess, let me see here. Yeah, TR cell. So this is the transmit receive tube. I don't know if this one might be a solid state. So what this thing does is radar sends a very high power pulse, but for a very short amount of time, microseconds. So it might be like 10 kilowatts, but it's very, very short amount of time. It's just a pulse. And then in between when the pulse is being sent and a pulse is being received, it switches back and forth from receive to transmit. So in order to do that, you need a switch, and this right here is the switch. It's the TR tube, and this will switch. This will completely isolate the receiver section, which I'm going to say this is probably the receiver section here. This will completely isolate the receiver section from the transmit section over here, because if that wasn't there, when the high power pulse from the radar would get emitted, it would completely destroy the sensitive electronics on the receiver, because this requires like microvolts to operate, and you're putting out 10,000 watts or whatever for a fraction of a second. It would just obliterate it. So this thing here is a very fast switch that will disconnect the receiver from the transmitter instantaneously upon the request to transmit. I guess that is the modulator, Decca. Just a couple different circuit boards. And looks like power supply boards. And I got power supply back in there. Fuse. What do we got here? Spark gap fitted to protect modulator if magnetron goes open circuit. If flash occurs across gap, switch off radar and locate fault. Set gap with gauge supplied. They used to sometimes fill waveguides with nitrogen, and I think they pressurized them with nitrogen. I can't remember, but obviously, I guess they were pretty high pressure if I remember correctly. and if there was a fault, if there was a leak or something, the waveguide would arc internally. I remember watching a video on that. And they used to have to go to find they used to have actual like pressure gauges on the waveguide. That's military stuff, but... So I'm assuming the high voltage power supply is down here because you got your high voltage leads here. It's got all these vents on it. Yep, it's quite the thing. The Decca marine radar. Oh, manual AFC. I don't know why they would have that. Very interesting. Made in England. Decca was an English company. Very cool.